Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back to our continuing series where we talk to reporters, writers, professors, experts, and activists. Anybody who can talk intelligently about political division in America. We want to bring their perspectives to you unedited and unaltered so that you could do this thing that was popular back when I was in high school called thinking for yourself. Maybe we'll have a renaissance. Maybe we won't. A lot of the people that we speak to are very busy. We're not able to get their undivided attention for an interview, but we are able to correspond with them to some degree, and we want to provide those nuggets of information to you. With us today is Odilon Camara, Odilon Camara. He is the Associate Professor of Finance and Business Economics. He's an economist who specializes in microeconomics and political economy at the University of Southern California, the Marshall School of Business. Whoops. He's an economist who specializes in microeconomics and political economy. He studies how individuals strategically use information to persuade decision makers. That's going to be key for this. He also studies the extent to which voters can use re-elections to create political accountability and discipline elected officials. His research has been published in the American Economic Review, Review of Economic Studies, Management Science, Journal of Economic Theory, Journal of Politics, and Games and Economic Behavior. He has a PhD, and before that, he worked in banking. He is the Marshall School of Business at the University of Southern California, Associate Professor of Finance and Business Economics since 2017. Actually, it looks like with 2009, he's been there. Also worked at Caltech, has a PhD from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, Masters of Business from Brasilia, and Bachelor of Economics from the Universidad de Brasilia in 2000. And this is the article where I found him. Trump will soon be out of office, but polarization isn't going anywhere. As you know, I find the concept that Trump can just be voted out and everything's going to be fixed in America as far as political division to be erroneous and aspirational thinking. And so when I saw this title, I was curious, what is this professor thinking? And here's what he said. I want to reduce the probability that voters will cross the aisle by removing any lingering uncertainty and solidifying my support. As a politician, this is how I can do this to get elected. One of the best ways to do this is by taking more extreme positions that differentiate me from my opponent. Rather than simply pledging to curb immigration, rile up crowds by promising to build a wall. Instead of reforming the existing healthcare system, advocate for a complete overhaul and Medicaid for all, just like Obama did. Rather than renegotiating the terms of participation in the European Union, press for permanent Brexit. At the same time, I paint my opponent as equally extreme, a socialist seeking to tear down the American way of life, or capitalist in the pockets of greedy billionaires. Drawing a stark line between myself and my opponent on divisive issues pushes voters in the middle to pick a side, while at the same time mobilizing my base. This strategy worked for Trump in 2016. Not mentioned in this article is that Obama and John McCain also did this, and so did Obama and Romney. They focused on their base and riling it up. Trump just got better at it. While Trump will be leaving office, the use of polarization as a political strategy is not going anywhere. Up-and-coming politicians have taken note of how well it worked for Trump, as well as figures from British Prime Minister Boris Johnson and Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro to Senator Bernie Sanders and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Technology and media are increasingly creating echo chambers where more extreme positions resonate and platforms where candidates can deliver divisive messages directly to voters. There's no clear, simple solutions to counteract the forces that incentivize extremism. So what he's saying is something we've kind of heard before. It's easier to just activate your base than to reach out to moderate or undecided voters. So you want to say something really extreme to show that you're the most hardcore in your party for the issue and everybody else isn't as hardcore as you are, so that you can take all the votes in your party. Then you just want to focus your party on getting out to vote rather than trying to reach out to people from the other side or trying to reach out to moderate or undecided voters, focusing on the base. Obama's done this. Romney did this. Trump did this, but it's not just Trump. This was basic political strategy before Trump ever ran, and it was pioneered and concretized between the first and second Obama election. So I agree. The system now is where it makes sense to focus on your base and be more extreme. His article he wrote comes from research that he had done. Political Disagreement and Information in Elections in 2016 with an economist at the London School of Economics. We studied the role of re-election concerns and incumbent parties' incentives to shape the information that reaches voters. In a probabilistic voting model, candidates representing two groups of voters compete for office. In equilibrium, the candidate representing the majority wins with a probability that increases in the degree of political disagreement. The difference in expected payoffs from the candidate's policies. Prior to the election, the office-motivated incumbent party can influence the degree of disagreement through policy experimentation, a public signal about a payoff-relevant state. We show that if the incumbent party supports the majority candidate, and then it strategically designs this experiment to increase disagreement, and hence the candidate's victory probability. We define the conditions such that the incumbent party chooses an upper censoring experiment and the experiment's informativeness decreases with the majority candidate's competence. The IP uses the experiment to increase disagreement even when political disagreement is due solely to the belief disagreement. So they're talking about how there's a benefit for a office-motivated incumbent party to increase disagreement in order to show that they're the most hardcore party so that they can get the vote. So the voters think, well, these people will definitely deliver these results that we want. So he's talking about the increase of extremism and disagreements on policies as a way of securing elections. And now we finally got to, I just wanted to ask you one question. Do you think political polarization will calm down on its own in the future? This is after he wrote this study, Political Disagreement. This is after he wrote this article, Trump will soon be out of office, but polarization isn't going anywhere. So I asked him, well, if Trump's out of office and polarization isn't going anywhere, will polarization calm down on its own? And here's what he said. I think the polarization will not diminish naturally in the near future. Not diminish naturally in the near future. There are many individuals and organizations that benefit from polarization, as I just explained, actively investing resources to not just perpetuate it, but also amplify it. Like we talked about, Bernie Sanders, AOC, Donald Trump. Social media and online platforms are increasingly proficient at gathering detailed information about individuals. This data, combined with sophisticated algorithms, this allows these organizations to deliver targeted messages with a high degree of customization. That process was designed by the Obama campaign and helped them win election in the first and second elections, optimizing their persuasive impact. Given these trends, it's likely that polarization will intensify before any improvement is seen. So because all these tools are out there and they allow people to communicate and it allows them to have targeted messages and people like their echo chamber, he's saying that because all these tools are out there in the political environment right now, it's unlikely polarization will just naturally calm down on its own anytime soon. Nevertheless, I hold a broader perspective that many social phenomena are cyclical. So there's hope that eventually we'll see a decrease in polarization. So looking at the long arc of history, polarization should calm down eventually. So there's hope at the end. However, in the near future, no. Why not? Because we're all on social media and the platforms are designed for us to do targeted messaging and to have really polarizing statements to get our base to back us in the next election, as he describes in here. Okay, well, that's it from an expert on the subject. It will not diminish naturally because of the environment and tools that are available. And that is from this expert here. And we will be back with more as we get it. Thank you very much.